Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money, now know what you conniving money. Money, never money, never money, money, never money, money, you can keep your conniving money. When you've been a corrupt in a bill, tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full in a bill, tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money, now know what you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker, neighbor, neighbor, joker, neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. Now I don't want you conniving money. Oh, Joseph.
Kissed by the warm breezes of the Caribbean, this orange beauty has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, large modern kitchen, and a living room with an open concept. This lovely home is within walking distance to the sea, where you can take a dip in the salt waters and feel refreshed. Verone's Cheerful Country Manor, located at Tushin, West Coast Demerara. Bookings are available on Airbnb. Contact Veronica at 516-524-1559 for more details. We hope to see you soon.
program of BUXTONIAN Morning Time. It is now 7 hours 15 on the 21st day of September in the year 2022. Yes, welcome to another program of BUXTONIAN Morning Time. I'm your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. Am I getting shadows? It's Wednesday morning, and we're going to have the doctor in the house. We are going to have the doctor in the house. But it's also the morning after. Hey, come here. It's the morning after. Yes, we were at GCOM yesterday afternoon. We protested. Don't worry. It's a small access cut down big tree. You know, sometimes you got a whole boat. And when you think everybody rowing with you, some rowing against you. And then sometimes you got a small crew. And they're rowing for save your life. Right? That's how I see it. You know, I'm the eternal optimist. Some people don't like that. Some people don't like optimism. They believe that you should bow your head and die in despair. Well, I'd rather live in hope. And since I know small axe just cut down big tree, I sharpen my small axe. Right? I am honing my protesting skills. Let's talk about that. Some of y'all don't know the meaning of honing. Y'all go check a dictionary because I can't help you. I myself don't know the meaning of honing. It's spelled H-O-N-I-N-G. Right? Comes from the verb hone, H-O-N-E. How do you hone your skills? And so for the trenchies who are learning English, English is their second language, or third, perhaps fourth. If you're going to change a verb into participle, as in ing, you drop your E and you add ing. So it is spelled H-O-N-I-N-G, honing. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the University of Kams Tv. Here we're going to teach them this morning. But first I want to address some people. I hope you all had a good day yesterday, a good night last night. I'm sweating this, you know. No, the correct thing is perspiring. Jackass is sweat. Like the trenchies. Yeah. As I'm saying. I'll address some people. I think yesterday we had a good day out there. I think we had an impactful protest. Yeah. We outwitting the police all the time. Oh, Lord, I'm sorry for all officers, but you know, they say, listen, I'm going to take off his spectacles a bit. You have to forgive me. I'm going to put it on eventually. You know, they say you need a few, well, back in the days, I don't know about now, but once you had a primary school education, you're going to join the police force. And that's why our commissioner of police only got a drill master's certificate. Boops! Run like a butterfly, sting like a bee. People getting punches this morning. And so when you see a lot of them dress up out there in their fancy uniform, where it's blue and white, no, black and blue, huh? Or khaki. As a matter of fact, let me tell you something. I learned that a lot of the people wearing black and blue are more qualified than the people wearing pips. Hey! Holla! Because nowadays, them young people going to get a CXC and so before they go into the police force. While some of the officers are officers through natural progression. Because they only got turned up when you just get promoted. Especially if you're doing the lucky walk, the junkalar walk of the wicked and vindictive PPP. Yeah, attacking this morning and attacking about the Guyana police force and so on. I got to get an assistant, man. I like now, I need to get my handkerchief and it didn't at my desk, so I gotta go, you know. Anyhow, we can talk. Yeah, so we outwitting them. Now we announced that we're coming to protest at 3 o'clock. What y'all is supposed to roll out the red carpet like the first day and ensure that all the barricades are in place and so on. Y'all is past people. Yeah? Y'all is past people. Y'all dropping y'all standards. I mean, the Guyana police force is known for very low standards. Very, very low standards. They're lower than Nadir. Their standards. Right? But even that they can't upkeep. The first day we turned up there to protest, barricades were all over the place. Second day, barricades were all over the place. Oh, y'all is past me because the numbers didn't look like they're getting big. Y'all tell yourself y'all gonna treat me anyhow. But a dignitary is a dignitary, you gotta roll out the red carpet. Right? So yesterday we turned up there and they're peeping before they do what they got to do. I roll out the red carpet. These people idle. I don't know why we pay them. You know? Anyways. Before they catch yourself, Mr. Amsterdam and all the protesters present are in front of GCOM. Directly in front of GCOM. Yes, that's where we want it to be. Directly in front of GCOM. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then everybody starts scrambling to put up barricades and so on. Now, y'all tell me something. A citizen like me, a good, patriotic citizen like me, who sometimes get to pay my taxes when I get to work. Right? Have a right to be anywhere, standing up. So they put up the barricades, barricading me in front of GCOM, and then got the temerity to tell myself and others, y'all go outside. Go to the barricade. I past people. Citizens have a right to be right where they were. And so we didn't move. We stay there. Because they barricaded us in. No, y'all gotta understand this thing, you know. We did not breach any police cordon. We didn't breach any police cordon. We were there and they put up the cordon. We can't do nothing about it. We can't stop them from putting up the cordon. Right? So we outsmart them. You know, y'all don't understand this thing. I tell you, in management, you got plan, organize, influence, and control. Right? That's how you teach. You always repeat the lesson from the day before. And so we planning and we organizing and we influencing and we controlling them. You see the numbers looking small, hey? A man says some crass yesterday, say, hey, it's a 5-man protest, PNC going to the dog. I will repeat it. This is not a PNC protest. This is a protest for citizens. This is a protest of democracy. This is a citizens' protest. This is a protest to clean the voters list. This ain't got PNC label on it. Right? Ain't got PNC label on it. And so it's a PNC going to dogs because it's a 5-man protest. Well, hey, the 5-man protest that scars people belly for. Good? Ask Freddie Kissoon if he ever organized a protest or participated in a protest that wasn't organized by anybody else that had more than 20 persons. Freddie knows the impact of small protests. Ask Mark Belchikap. Ask Kwame Wing, if you could, other one-man protests used to bother the wind seed guy, dead foul. Y'all ask. Y'all think small access cut on by tree. So last week I put a laurel on the top of my car. And I went and I started the broadcast. Within 5 minutes, inspector come and tell me, if you ain't got permission for the thing, you got to take it off. I say, all right, boss, no problem. Show me the line, you walk away. But you know, he didn't get it set up. He walk away, I turned off. But the law didn't say he can't use a bullhorn. And so when I took out the bullhorn yesterday, you can't use the thing, you know. You can't. Hey, officer, come show me the law that says I can't use a bullhorn. And oh my goodness, I enjoyed that bullhorn. That bullhorn was really bullish and Claudette. Yes, I want to know how impactful it was. It had people coming out of the offices at GCOM to stand up outside to see what's happening out there. It had the chief elections officer driving through the back gate instead of the front. It had Claudette Singh almost trying to do a sprint to her vehicle to go through the back, instead of taking her time and walk like the Honorable Justice she proclaimed to be. Yeah. So y'all don't worry the 5 mile protest that y'all causing. Small acts, just cut on big tree. We going back to GCOM today, 3 o'clock. And no special branch and all of them listening. I see another jackass early this morning. I can't remember my full name. Whoever that one full name is. Special branch is on to you. Special branch is on to you, but study you on to you. You know what I mean. Right. I know special branch is on to me. Who is on to you? Right? Take that to the bank and bank it. Right? So y'all listening. Whether you're listening from our officer, the Prime Minister, whether you're listening from NCN, whether you're listening from DPI, whether you're listening from Special Branch, whether you're listening from Soku, wherever you're listening from, be coming back 3 o'clock and show the red carpet is there. Okay? No retreat, no surrender. And show we red carpet there. That's what I'm saying. Good. Now on to regular programming. Y'all share the live. I ain't get to the number where I want to see it yet. Share the live, folks. Share the live. We're having fun this morning. It's Tuesday. It's Wednesday. The doctor's supposed to be in the house. I want to be there by. Sometimes the doctor has got extra calls. Last night the doctor couldn't do Politics 101 because he had to be on duty. I don't know what's the situation this morning. We haven't communicated. And so while you're sharing the live, let me see what's happening with the doctor. I saw there's something circulating about a murder-suicide in Hansgrove, I think. Condolences to the family. I haven't gone to the bottom of this, so I haven't even read it, quite frankly. And somebody is asking why it is people are killing each other like that. I got a lot of reasons why people kill people. Comes down to temperament. It comes down to value for life. It comes down to stress level management. How can I manage the level of stress that I got? It comes down to all kind of thing. At the end of the day, sometimes we have to ask ourselves, where are the social supports? Is there a social support system in this country that people, when they get to the level of frustration that lead to murder and suicide, level of desperation that lead to murder and suicide, is there systems in place? Are there systems that they can turn to for support? Is social services working? Is it doing its work? I mean, since July or August, July, I think, Soup Drinker Mark Phillips promised to send social services support to Golden Grove to counsel with the people and so on who are traumatized. They ain't got no support yet. So you really have to ask yourself, what social services doing? Or if there's really social services in this country. You have to ask yourself that. Not answered. Right? Ask yourself that. And when you ask yourself that, you know, based on your conclusion, you could come to understand why we have so many suicides, so many murders, and domestic abuse and violence and so on in the society. Because when your citizens don't have anywhere to turn, to vent, to get counseling, then they explode. They explode. You know what it is to be experiencing some domestic issues coupled with financial issues or created by financial issues, and you don't have access to a social worker. Some people might go to this social worker, the department, and they are told that you have to make an appointment. We are going to be able to deal with your matter 3 months, 4 months down the line. I am bursting at the seam with frustration. I see a shed blood in my eyes But I gotta wait for you to sit and hear my cause, my troubles, and counsel me. We have to do better as a society. Note, this is a general comment, because I have not read anything about the matter in Hinds Grove. Murder, suicide, father dead, son dead. Father dead, son dead, mother hospitalized, right? Some would say, oh, brutish man, oh, brutish men. These men are always killing these women. But we need to get to the root of these issues. And when you get to the root of the issues, then you can plan to solve them. Y'all ever notice that once the PPP is in power, once the PPP sits in the seat of government, certain social ills increase? Yes, trafficking in persons increase. Domestic violence increases. Suicides increase. Do you recognize that? Once the PPP is in office, that happens. A woman and her husband are now hospitalized while his son is dead at home. Dead is 21-year-old Sion Bob, while his 57-year-old father, Leon Bob, and his mother, Sharon Bob, are hospitalized. What story is this? This headline misleading or man? Okay. Son dead, mother and father hospitalized. Oh, it didn't mislead him. I'm reading from Big Ship, right? Sometimes this guy will check Big Ship stories. Sion worked as a security guard. Sharon Bob has been suffering years of abuse at the hands of Leon Bob, who would constantly accuse her of being unfaithful to him. According to what was communicated to Big Schmidt News Watch, each time Leon took infidelity allegations to Sharon, the two would end up in arguments and Sharon becomes abused. On Wednesday morning, the two were having an argument over infidelity and Leon reportedly began abusing Sharon, which resulted in her son rushing to her assistance. The son and father began fighting, with Sharon attempting to part them. In the end, Sion was killed. The incident took place at 24 Midwalk, Hinds Grove, East Coast Demerara, where the family lives. Police are still on the scene conducting their investigations. What I'm saying? Blame his woman, his wife, his child mother, whatever. I don't know what the arrangements are for being unfaithful. But this is years of abuse. How do you deal with years of abuse? Are there social systems in place to seriously and readily assist victims of these social issues, abuse? Do we have them in place? We're spending money, hundreds of millions of dollars, distributing sanitary napkins. Right? Distributing sanitary napkins, spending hundreds of millions of dollars, flying left, right, and center. Hundreds of millions of dollars, beautifying landscape. Who will enjoy those landscapes that are being beautified if the people are not taken care of? These are things we have to ask. We got to keep asking them. Like, we have to keep asking them. Where are the systems in this country to prevent these kinds of things? White people killing one another, in many instances out of frustration. I don't know the family, but it's something like a regular Guyanese family. Son is a security officer, security guard, as we say. They never said what the father does, what the mother does. Right? But at 21, the son still lives with the family. Right? Depicts to me the average family in Guyana. Adult children still living with parents. That in itself is a problem in most society. What you doing in we business? Is what the father must have asked himself. While the son is saying, why are you abusing my mother? Right? Why is this infidelity taking place? Is it that the father can't provide adequately for his wife? Can't take care of his family? These are things that we have to get to the bottom of. Who does it? Who is supposed to do it? Government has the resources. So don't ask the question, why these murders taking place? Why people killing one another? I still am not, I don't know what's happening. I call in the doctor still. All right. Let me tell you that the people in London are under pressure. Y'all talking about apartheid? Every day I could come here and talk about it and present the evidence. Every day. You know, the Bajaglio led PPP promised while they were on the campaign trail that they were going to provide hundreds of jobs. Good, high-paying jobs for citizens. And the only thing they were able to do when they got into office, installed as they are, was fire black people left, right, and center. Replace them with the PPP supporters, majority Indo-Guyanese, and some token blacks. Right? That is what they were able to do. That is what they did. That is what they chose to do. They didn't create any jobs. They simply replaced people who were already in jobs. Displaced them. Right? Displace them and fill those artificial vacancies, because that's what I call them, with their people. Right? That's what they do. Or that's what they did. And when they realized that, hey, we ain't making sense, eh? They created something called temporary employment. Y'all work for 10 days a month. 10 days a month. And I'll give you $40,000 remuneration. You know, it is as if you have a piece of machinery and you can only work it for 10 days a month. That is underuse. The machinery is underworking. It's underperforming. It's unemployed. And so you have hundreds of people, not hundreds, thousands of people across this country who are underemployed. Skilled or unskilled, they're underemployed. They can only work for 10 days a week, 10 days a month. And so their salaries, their remuneration, their stipends, whatever this cabal calls it, was set at $40,000 a month, which is about $4,000 a day. I'm sure they're earning more than the public servants by $4,000 a day. Good. But what is sickening is that you have thousands of people who the PPP have put on these, the Finale cabal has put on this temporary employment thing. They got 6 sweeper cleaners now in schools. Because they really ain't got no place to put them, and so they're just sending them anywhere. They must get 12 sweeper cleaners in health centers and hospitals and so. That is what they've been doing. And they've been paying this $40,000 a month. They went to London and they stopped a whole host of people from becoming nurses. They shut down, what's his name? Charles Rosa, School of Nursing. They shut them down. Discontinued the program. I said, dare any of you who were enlisted in this program to apply anywhere else in this country and we're going to ban you. If that is not apartheid, tell me what is. In which other country a government will go shut down a training program in a particular geographic area and tell those people who are interested in being trained they can't apply in other areas where this training is being offered, or they're going to get disbarred for the rest of their life? There's apartheid in South Africa. But this is apartheid Guyana. They don't like when I say it, but who can think and think? It definitely is apartheid. If citizens of a country living in a particular geographic area can be debarred from participating in training that is offered elsewhere. And so they did that. So you got hundreds or thousands of people now in Linden whose dreams of becoming nurses have been shattered because they don't know what to do. I guess they're afraid of being banned, so they won't apply anywhere else and all of that. They created hundreds of these $40,000 jobs. You know, they know how to keep you in poverty. Got you going around like a hamster on a wheel. You think you're doing something. Every day you're turning up to do nothing on this $40,000 to 10 days work. Right? Every week you're turning up for this $40,000 to 10 days work. And you're doing nothing else because you got a job. And nobody is encouraging you to do anything else because you got a job. Never mind, it's only for 10 days and it pays you $40,000. They keep you in poverty. They keep you in poverty. But a lot of people don't see that. They see that as the PPP doing something for we. The coalition didn't do this for we, you know. The coalition didn't do this for we. The PPP doing something for we. And so there are hundreds of people in London and thousands across the country who are doing this $40,000 a month job. I hope it's not a... Move on. Yeah, this morning my mind is all over the place, especially in the gutters. And so hundreds of people are going to be affected now in Linden because they decide that being I use for all these people, we're going to say no more than 200 of them in Linden. So more than 200 persons, according to my information, are about to go back on the breadline. Not that they ever came off, quite frankly. But they're not going to be deprived of that $40,000 poverty stipend because they're going to lay them off. They're going to lay them off because they got too many. So they're sending them about 200 according to my information. Who are the people who will be affected for the greater part? Who are the people who will be affected for the greater part? What's the demographic makeup? Or what are the demographics of Linden, of Region 10, and so on? Linden is, yeah, I guess soft. Yeah, Sharma Solomon, one buddy. Vanessa Kisoon, what going on? Anybody has seen Jordan Figueroa recently? Or Priya told him that he must focus on teaching the people's children and don't give them a hard time. I'm just asking. Mark Phillips, soup drinker. Yeah, the man is a Linden, or at least so they say. And he's prime minister and can't do jack squat for Lindeners. Jack squat. The only thing this jackass could do, this lackey, is deliver a trophy for jackasses running on a track. Horse race. The President's Cup. That's the only thing this man good for. Can't he look into the well-being of Lindeners and ensure that they get some firm, sustainable economic development programs in that region? Linden has an entity called Linden Entrepreneurial Network or something like that. The PPP broke it up since they went into office. Create all kinds of chaos around it. And so Lindeners can't even access capital to do something. And they got a jackass named Mark Phillips there, who say from Linden and he's prime minister. Huh? Y'all understand this? He's not even fit enough to go and stand up at the funeral service of Queen Elizabeth. So Londoners, like I say, y'all get soft. Where are your leaders? I know they're going to ask me the same thing. What going on in Buxton? Where are your leaders? One, Linden Bridge can't block no more? Or y'all find 3 more die? I'm not making I'm not treating with scant regard the death of those 3 brothers. They made a sacrifice. They made an ultimate sacrifice, standing up for the dignity of the people of Linden. And they might be turning in their graves to see that after making that ultimate sacrifice, Lindeners are soft. They're standing up for nothing. They got some improper fraction there at the Linden Hospital Complex making people life hell, and they ain't doing nothing with it. If we can't eat, who else must eat? David Hinds like to say, kick down the table. I say kick down the whole stove and everything, broke up the kitchen. Why is it that one group of people must go through so much trepidation, so much suffering, so much punishment from this wicked and corrupt cabal? They want to bring them to the knees. We gonna show Linden who is boss. At the end of the day, they're gonna come begging at our tables. They're gonna come creeping and crawling to be members of the PPP, even if they're gonna be pretending. We're gonna put it on them. And Lindeners just stand up and watching this thing unfold. Those very 200 plus who will be placed on the breadline must go on the bridge. And I'm sure they got relatives and friends, so you must join them on the bridge. But this time you all learn from the past. You all learn from the past, right? What does the past tell you? The past taught you that the likes of Hinds and other ranking members of the Guyana Police Force and even the Guyana Defense Force and the murder squads and so on, they will be plotting for your downfall. And you can't turn up at a gunfight with a stick. So you should be plotting their downfall as well. As I say, you gotta meet fire with fire. So if you know that when you block the bridge, to demand that attention be given to your region so that people can be sustainably employed, you know they will come at you, then you do what? You put measures in place to protect yourselves at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. So you got to get scouts, you got to get people to infiltrate. You got to get spies, you got to get people to give you the information. You mean, you're telling me they ain't got no patriotic Linden in the police force who gonna know what they're planning? Answer me. Do the information gathering. They call it recce. You got a reconnaissance. You got recce. Gather all the pertinent information and plan accordingly. Every 2 mornings they're at your door, adding a little bit more oppression to you. Every little morning they're at your door, adding a little bit more oppression to you. And all you keep doing is bending. 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 There's going to come a point where you can't bend no more. And you're going to also can't stand straight anymore. So you best start doing what is necessary to be done. I can't tell you what to be done. You're on the ground. You must know your terrain. You're on the ground. You must know from all angles where they can, quote unquote, attack you. And so you must put up your defense mechanisms. So when you block the bridge, it is well blocked. And nobody will lose their lives. Why I must, my region, my country, my community must be quote unquote in control of an important transit point for people making money. People getting access to the interior and so on, and surrounding regions. People getting to work. But I ain't getting no work. And I left the therapy room. Something wrong. We gotta change our mindset. We have to change our mindset. And say, if I can't get, nobody else can get. You gotta be like them little children. You ever see the schoolyard bully? Please to some other channel. No, move from a younger belly dog. Box out. I can't get, you can't get. Box it out, Ian. I can't get, you can't get. That is the kind of mentality we have to develop if we're going to fix this system. The PPP developed it a long time ago. The PPP has always had a scorch the earth policy. It's the same thing. If we can't get it, we're going to block it up, we're going to destroy it. That is why when they were in opposition for all the years on the Fox Bottom and so on, they were bent on destroying the cane fields. They were bent on destroying public buildings. What do you think is a set of saints? They burnt a lot of buildings in this country and burnt a lot of canes in the country. They undermined Fox Bottom in several ways. What happened to y'all now? Go back to the history of what the PPP did to the Fox Bottom administration and learn from it. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? Oh, they used to like rat tails and lose them into the cane fields? All right. Good strategy, boy. We could like rat tails too. Do we need to lose them into the cane fields? Or there are other prime targets that we can lose them in? Those are just your thought processes. The PPP wrote the book on how to undermine the government because they've been doing it. We used to have our operatives drop metal pieces in the mills at Gaisuko to damage it. Oh, the PPP used to do that? Do we have cause to do that? Where should we do that? You only got to wait on leaders to tell you do this and do that and do the other and do the next. History is a great teacher. History is a great teacher. Jack Dion said, when the coalition members, ministers, and so on come into your communities, chase them out. Chase them out. Tell them they're illegitimate, they're illegal, chase them out. Do we have a similarity of situation right now? Do you consider the current administration illegitimate, illegal? So if you consider them illegitimate and illegal, and the advice given as to how to deal with representatives of an illegitimate and illegal government, the advice is already there on blueprint. What you want to do? Reinvent the wheel? Oh, Jack Dion said when government officials are illegitimate and illegal, chase them. Why we ain't chasing nobody? We're embracing them with promises. We're embracing them. And we're encouraging them to disrespect our leaders. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? We dumb, we deaf, we blind. Can't we interpret what's happening in this society, and can't we see it was dealt with in the past and so adapt the same strategy? Huh? Talk to me. 7 hours 56. Let me take a commercial break. And then I will come back. And I'll talk to you short about continued acts of apartheid and attacks on African Guyanese in the education system. Let's go to commercial. Somebody's asking me about this commercial for Veronica, the place of Tushen. And they're asking the question, why is there no last name? Some kinds of business you don't do on last name basis. You call the number and ask for Veronica. Veronica know why she advertised that number with her name. Just call the number, Veronica gonna answer you. And you get the information you want. Why you want to know the woman's last name? Oh, Lado, you know me. I like to act the thing, how I see it.
Kissed by the warm breezes of the Caribbean, this orange beauty has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, large modern kitchen, and a living room with an open concept. This lovely home is within walking distance to the sea, where you can take a dip in the salt waters and feel refreshed. Verone's cheerful country manor, located at Tushen, West Coast Demerara. Bookings are available on Airbnb. Contact Veronica at 516-524-1559 for more details. We hope to see you soon. Kissed by the warm breezes of the Caribbean, this orange beauty has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, large modern kitchen, and a living room with an open concept. This lovely home is within walking distance to the sea, where you can take a dip in the salt waters and feel refreshed. Verone's cheerful country manor, located at Tushen, West Coast Demerara. Bookings are available on Airbnb. Contact Veronica at 516-524-1559 for more details. We hope to see you soon.
Alright, so if you can't get Veronica to make your bookings, hit me up, give me your information, I'll get Veronica to respond to you. Yeah, I go like that. I tell you all we can talk about this. We're going to talk about this apartheid system. Hey, listen. I mean, this is Hinds, site is 2020 vision. And looking back, Guyana has been an apartheid state for quite a while, you know. But a lot of us didn't pay attention. And so it emboldened the PPP. They keep pushing the envelope. Right? They kept pushing the envelope. And so it is a wide open story now. This is no longer secret. This is no clandestine operation. We are emboldened. We will do it how we want to do it. to who we want to do it. And y'all can't do anything about it. Because y'all either divided or weak. I don't know what's the description. Y'all either divided or weak. Can you imagine the teaching system? The education sector. Dominated by black people. Yeah, dominated by black people. Because unlike the other one who said that black people didn't do anything to enhance themselves and their children's lives. Black people like education. They always suffering a black man with education. One of the proudest Negroes you could find is one who is very well educated. So black people like education. They get education and they teach. So a whole lot of black people in the education system. And they didn't just go there with CXC subjects. Right? They didn't just go with the CXCs or primary school education. In fact, you can't become a teacher with a primary school education. Right? Anthony Alicock is asking for a friend. I guess his friend's name is Anthony Alicock. But we'll talk about that if I remember. Right? So you have a desire to be a teacher. At least the majority of them. They get CXC subjects, they go to CPC and they get trained. They become a trained teacher. Now there's something that is called an associate degree. Well, CPC is now doing the associate degree with the University of Guyana. So once you're trained at CPC, you go to university, you do the degree in education or something like that. So now you're a trained graduate. You can now do your post-grad in education or some other subject area that you want to specialize in. And so you check in the education system, you're going to find black people going through all these things. People got masters in education and all kind of thing. I don't know. Anyhow, that's not my point of discussion this morning. So, because the education system is predominantly blacks, you find a lot of black people. African Guyanese, who have qualified and certified themselves by going through the different levels of training. I understand for you to become an education manager. That is if you want to be an REO and stuff like that. Administrators. There's a management training program or an apprenticeship program, whatever they call it. First and foremost, you got to jump through hoops. And I'm going to talk some nasty things this morning. You got to jump through hoops to get onto the program. Again, a majority of our teachers are females. Right? But one of the persons who manages the process for this apprenticeship program is a male, or there are several males. And so when you find a female teacher desperate enough to complete this program, guess what pops up? The sexual question. Sexual harassment. You're going to pass it? If you're going to pass it, I could get you on the program. I know there's blatant as that, but that is what it comes down to. You got to pass it up in many instances. Unless you know somebody or you're really persistent, because the number of people they will take is not infinite. And if you keep going and get turned down, and you tell yourself you're desperate enough and they see that your desperation, they get tackled. Wickedness in government offices, sexual harassment. A lot of these teachers don't want to talk about it. But it is whispered. And so I'm putting it out there. Prayer must investigate first and foremost why it is teachers are being asked for sexual favors to get onto the apprenticeship program. And I don't think it's the first time she's hearing about it. So she very well is condoning it. Y'all stop it. They are qualified people. As a matter of fact, there are people who did their postgrad in education and so naturally have covered the content of that apprenticeship program. I should be able to apply for administrative positions. But no, the cabal, the system says you must go through this apprenticeship program if you're going to be allowed to become an administrator. But to go through this apprenticeship program, you got to go through hoops. You either prepare to be a political lackey, a sexual slave, willing to spend money and bribe people, or you can't get no place. And people just sit down and complaining about it. In fact, I sit down whispering about it instead of even taking actions to change it. We talking this story. I like talking this story. Me my boss, you know. Right? They got a son. What is he? Columnists in this country that people left, right, and center have been whispering for years. Used to demand sexual favors from students to them to get a pass grade and so on, while that columnist was lecturer. People gonna say this thing happening long, but nobody want to talk about it in the open. Well, me mouth boss. But you think that is all that is affecting the education sector? No. Racism and apartheid is not practiced openly. Since this cabal went into office, you know what they've been doing? Satira Gal has been plucking from classrooms. Even junior teachers of Indian ancestry and make them education administrators. So because you're a PPP lucky, you campaign for them. Maybe you disappear the statutory documents in the boxes that couldn't be found. We don't like talk about the teachers doing that. Well, I agree with you in this instance, Rhonda. A lot of teachers were part of that nonsense. All in support of the PPP. So now like it's payback time. Because we are seeing some teachers, as juniors they are being plucked from the classroom and made education officials. Despite the fact that they are way less qualified than a lot of others who have completed degrees and postgrads and so on, and applying to become education administrators and are being disallowed. They're not even being accepted on the apprenticeship program. But you gotta set a little underqualified PPP supporters being plucked from the classroom and put into these administrative positions. To go around as inspectors and so on and disrespect their seniors and more qualified teachers. Well, I heard the other day one of them, I think she named Pratima. I don't know if this is the right name, but let me call her Pratima. I understand she's in the education department at Region 4. Cuss out and chase out a set of teachers, senior teachers, administrators, school administrators, chase them out and tell them, not under her watch. they will not be able to represent themselves in our office. When me more boss, so I am saying in the public that Setira girl, you must fix the apartheid system. Because quite frankly, going to McDonald, Mark Light, I don't know what y'all doing, you know. But the school term should have come to a halt already. And you know, sometimes these public officials feel they got an axe to grind with them. They feel you don't like them. Or they feel you want to embarrass them. But I don't know what the heck the union reps, the teachers, and the public servants are doing in this country. Where else can this supersession? Every part of this country is a supersession. They said Barrett Jagdeo, chair and mother, superseded some senior doctor at the Georgetown Hospital. Yes, Barrett Jagdeo got chair and mother. So he's not a eunuch like all y'all always say. He got chair and mother. Y'all want she name too? Huh? Barrett Jagdeo, chair and mother, superseded seniors at the Georgetown Hospital. Y'all gonna see which was the last promoted doctor y'all might know is who. At least it gotta be a woman. I said chair mother. Go do your own investigation, don't ask me nothing. I know. Okay? Everywhere you twist and turn, somebody's superseding somebody. In the police force, a man with a drill officer's certificate supersedes a man with a master's degree. And we just loving it to slide. Like the Guyanese society sliding. In public service all over. In all kinds of departments, people come in and supersede others because they are friends and cronies. And it's in a particular department. And let me call it affordable. Can you imagine the Ministry of Labor? Which is supposed to be representing or looking into labor issues and finding solutions for labor issues when they arise in a place of employment, got its own issues. More than 70% of the staff at the Ministry of Labor are PPP supporters and they are unqualified for the jobs that they are given. One Polari Joe? Y'all could understand it? But people only whispering. They're on a whisper campaign. Well, me, my boss. And it's funny, you know. It's very funny. Everybody calling Kams Tv, everybody calling 6225933 to whisper. Because here, when they don't talk to me and I say the calling program is at a wrong X time, sorry, I won't be able to call in. They're either going to work, they got to carry their grandchild to school, they frightened the name go there. But this bus mount man must represent them. Let them come in on the picket line, as you can see. But you know what? For the love of people in the country, I'm going to open my bus mouth. Because this nonsense can't continue. These ladies chose to be teachers because they don't want to prostitute themselves. Stop harassing them for sex, for upward mobility. It ain't right. Let the boot go on another foot. You want somebody to harass your wife for little sex because she wants to be promoted on a job for which she is duly qualified? And then you walk around with a chip on your shoulder. And you're telling your friend, go on. She do want to get on the program. That's the kind of thing that's happening in this society. And everybody whispering. They're whispering to Mr. Amsterdam. Because if they go to the union, they don't expect anything to come out of it. If they go to the workers' representative, they don't expect anything to come out of it. Because the workers' representatives themselves are compromised. Some of them asking for the same sexual favors to represent the people who pay them. What baloney? Lines are open. 60 minutes past 8. Minutes past 8. I ain't already doctor there, but I hope he's well. I'm going to talk to him at some point in the day and give you all an update. Y'all Frank Patel? Y'all know what people...
Because your money done, you come with conniving money. Then you had your pocket full, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, neighbor. Money, neighbor, money. Money, neighbor, money. Money, now know what you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money, neighbor. Money, neighbor, money. Money, neighbor, money. Money, now I don't want you conniving money. Oh, Joseph.
Kissed by the warm breezes of the Caribbean, this orange beauty has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, large modern kitchen, and a living room with an open concept. This lovely home is within walking distance to the sea, where you can take a dip in the salt waters and feel refreshed. Verone's cheerful country manor, located at Tushin, West Coast Demerara. Bookings are available on Airbnb. Contact Veronica at 516-524-1559 for more details. We hope to see you soon.
Morning, neighbor, morning. Gotta clear out this throat, boy. Morning, neighbor, morning. How are you do? How are you past yesterday? How are you past last night? Are you sleep good? We hope so, you know. Because every day you have to have renewed energy and strength to live in this country of ours. Yes. We have to renew our energy. And so I hope that you were able to renew your energy in the course of the night. I hope most of you have smiles, if not all of you have smiles on your face. You have something to think back through. Okay? Last night I slept well. Last night was a blast. Last night was quite memorable. I wonder what a dream means. And stuff like that. Share the life. Y'all share the damn life, man. Smash the button. Morning. Share the life. please and thanks, subscribe. A lot of people were saying, lots of people saying they're not getting notifications recently. And so they're saying it's likely that others are not getting notification. And that too is true. And that is why it's important that when you come on, you share the light. You know the regulars, right? You know the regulars. And if you don't see the regulars, then you simply share to them, along with your other folks that you would share to. I can't tell you exactly why these things happen, but they happen. And there are things that I believe perhaps I don't have control over, and so I don't lose sleep over it. That's how I see things, right? There's that, what we call it, whatever that says, God grant me the serenity to what? Change the things I can change and recognize those that I can't change and leave the backside alone. Something like that. Yes. I got a kind of attitude. If I think I can change something, I will put my all into changing it. I will dedicate my energies, okay, to bringing about that change which I think is necessary. But if I look at it and I realize, but for over a month now, we have not been knocked off once. But that luxury, if I call it that, certainly comes at a cost, right? Valin Kendall said she didn't get any notification. Well, thank you for being here, Valin. Share to somebody who you might suspect didn't get a notification. Yes, it comes at a cost. And they say there is no free meal in this life. There's no free meal. Everything comes at a cost. If it doesn't come at a cost to you, it comes at a cost to somebody else. Hey, you get a nice phone, Mike. Yeah, it's a free phone. My auntie sent it for me. Do you know what your auntie went through to get that phone? Do you know how many sleepless nights she had at work doing the graveyard shift to get you that phone? You don't know. But you see it is free. And so you don't place real value on it. You don't place real value on it because it's free. Whereas it should be priceless. Buy this phone, eh? This phone priceless. Buy it. Me and auntie must go to all kind of things to get me this phone. It might have a certain value in the store, but it is priceless because of the efforts of your aunt. These are things we must consider in our goings on, in our daily happenings, right? A lot of us sit and we say, listen, we are enjoying freedom and democracy in this society. We are free. I'm free to do what I want. Makes me a big man. Guyana is a democracy. You hear all of these things. But has anyone stopped to think of what went into the process of getting you to this point of quote-unquote freedom? A lot of people like talk about blood, sweat, and tears, but you really understand blood, sweat, and tears? Your foreparents, your ancestors, they really, really lost blood, sweat, and tears to get us to this point of freedom. And what do we do with that freedom? What do we do with their sacrifices? We see it as a free meal. We take it for granted. We can get up and go and come and do as we like, eh? Within the confines of the law. We take that for granted. But there was a time when they had to get up at the whims and fancies of Massa and go and come according to instructions of Massa. And they decided, listen, we are willing to lay our lives down to change this thing, to change the status quo. Because we would hate to see our children and their children live like us. And revolutions were formed and rebellions took place. And over a period of time, they got us to this point where we can talk about us being free. Free from bondage, at least physical bondage. But what are we doing to honor that sacrifice and to maintain the freedom from physical bondage and to contribute to freedom from mental bondage. What are we doing? We ain't doing nothing. Lots of us are doing nothing. Right? Many of us are doing nothing. We just sitting back and relaxing, chill, cock up your foot. Boy! Last time, hey, I been bought a body last time, it was a blast, boy. The man had Henny there for lunch, dog. You understand? I drink till I drunk and I vomit up. When I catch myself about 2 o'clock this morning, I lay down on the ground in my yard. How many of you have heard that and how many times you've heard it? That's what we see our freedom to be. Hey, me and the crew beat the cricket last night, boy. We get to go in the VIP stand. The one from Ministry of Culture dropped 10 tickets away. You know, we just roll light, we just roll dark. And we just eat up the free food and drink up the rum, the expensive liquor. What are we doing to change that mentality of our people? Are we explaining to them that they have allowed themselves to be a different kind of slave? That they're walking into a different kind of bondage? A bondage where there are no physical restraints on you, but you're mentally restrained. Like I said yesterday, the PPP said we can get hundreds of thousands, hundreds of y'all jobs to work 10 days a month for $40,000. 10 days a month for $40,000. And they have you going through a motion. Because you turn up on your days to make that 10 days. You have nothing to do or you do very little. And whatever you do is not enhancing your skill. It's not challenging you mentally. But you're just going through a pace. And at the end of the month, you push your hand and you collect $40,000 and you say, eh, the PPP doing nice to me, boy. This is the best government for Guyana. And you cause the coalition. Granger didn't do nothing for me. They only used to come to me community when they want votes. They also only come here when they want votes. But a person who is not mentally bonded, who is not mentally enslaved, can look back and say, but Granger established child care centers in some black communities so that we can carry our children and leave them so that we can pursue education, those of us who dropped out of school. The man was empowering us. Because when I get my education, nobody can take that from me. I can use that to earn. Granger established night schools in certain areas that I could go, even if I'm working, I can go and enhance my qualification. There's empowerment. Granger established certain programs for skill training that even if I am not academically inclined, I can learn to do things with my hands. But no, so long as he didn't put cash in your hand, he ain't do nothing for you. And that's how we see it. So we take our freedom for granted. We don't really understand what freedom is. I'll tell you something. The other morning I cussed out one of them trenchies. Because he said black people didn't do anything to enhance their lives and their children's lives when they were in government under the Fox Burnham and other PNC government. I cuss you out. Because he did wrong, right? But he was only wrong on a level. Let's keep that in mind. He was only wrong on a level. And let me point out to you where he was wrong. He was wrong because in the book of African Guyanese, our lives are enhanced when we are educated. And when we provide education for our children, or opportunities for our children to be educated. We are living an enhanced life when we can command a job in the public service or civil service, whatever you want to call it. That for us is enhancement. And let me explain the importance of that enhancement for us. There was a time when many of our people couldn't even dream of getting into the public service. They couldn't even dream of going into a school building, into a learning facility to educate themselves. And so once we got off of the plantation with the sacrifices of the ancestors and we became free and we can now, and we struggled and we are now allowed into classrooms to get an education, we say we're going to be the best at it. And so we put great store, great value on education and educating our children. And then we know that we couldn't get into certain offices, public service offices and so on. And through our education, we use that as our stepping stone to get into those offices. And so over time, we became quote unquote the controllers of those offices. We are the managers. We are the supervisors. We are the accountants and so on. And so, African Guyanese black people saw that all of that as achievement and enhancement. And don't let anybody take it away from us. So we have achieved, we continue to achieve, and we continue to enhance our children's lives and our lives. But is it the kind of enhancement that will really serve us and keep us liberated? That's the question. Is that the kind of enhancement that will serve us and keep us liberated? Are we multifaceted? Have we focused on enhancing our lives from all angles? We still rely on our competition to feed us. Because while we are thriving in the public service, or we were, because enough of us get kicked out and so on, and so we might be just blowing in the wind. But while we controlled the white-collar jobs, we are dependent on the blue-collar man, the working class, the farming class, to feed us. So we didn't enhance ourselves and our children in that area. And whatever his name was, that Trenchi, could make that argument, because this is something I always say to people. And it is something I'm saying to you, and I'm recommending it again to you. In the years of Forbes Burnham and the PNC in power, a lot of Indians didn't choose to go to the public service to work. They were never interested in public service work. They took the teaching that once you own the land, you own the country. And they didn't only see it as owning the land and owning the country. They saw it as owning the means of production. And so when you own the means of production, you own your country. So while a lot of them were not in the public service and were even dropping out of school, they weren't, Guyanese didn't pay much attention to school, At least a certain generations of Indo-Guyanese didn't pay much attention to school. Once you went to first form, first standard, second standard, they're out of school. They're chasing heads of cattle. They're herding sheep and goats. And they're planting garden and throwing cast net. Right? Us who were after education and were being educated looked down upon them. Them not nothing. They can't write their name, they have to use thumbprint. But while certain generations of the Indo-Guyanese were doing that, they were creating enhancement in certain sections of the society, certain sectors of the society for them. They were farming gardens. They were doing cash crops. And when they go to the market with their cash crops, their earnings were much, much more than those of us who were sitting in managerial positions in the public service. They in turn took those earnings and invested them into things. Who wanted to do bigger business than cash crop farming? Did that. Who wanted to buy motor vehicles and resell them? Did that. They took some of that very earnings and they invested in the next generation of Indo-Guyanese for education. They invested in Indo-Guyanese. They invested in their offspring. Later generations, they invested in their education. And so they too have enhanced themselves. They enhanced themselves from indentured servants to the producers of food, to the owners of the productive capacity, to becoming educated, academia. And say they have different levels of enhancements. While for us, our greatest achievement is get that education, control the public service. Right? We have to know, because they were doing that when they were out of political power. And when political power was gifted to them, what they did? They kicked many of us out of the public service, replaced us with their now educated next generations. And so they control the public service. They control the factors of production. And so to a large extent they control the country. Y'all think you're talking foolishness? Let's do some analysis. When the coalition went into office in 2015, Jack Dale stood up and he said, don't worry them. We're going to get them out in 5 years. Don't worry them. The economy will tank. They ain't going to get foreign exchange. A lot of people must have thought this ballet demon talking nonsense. This ballet demon talking nonsense. But the point was proven when artificial shortages were created in the foreign currency market in this country. When businessmen and women were hollering and bawling that they ain't getting foreign currency to do international trade. Gobinganga of the central bank had to come out and say there's no shortage of currency. Then Finance Minister Winston Jordan said there's no shortage of currency. We have so much money in the system and so on. What was happening? Because they controlled the factors of production, including foreign currency. They hoarded them. They withheld them from the economy. They withheld them from the market. So the invisible hand of demand and supply was not working naturally. They created those shortages to pressure the Granger government, to cause the economy to tank. Because they had the capacity. And they still have the capacity. A lot of people are asking why the Granger government had to deal with certain business people who are aligned to the PPP. Because they had what the Granger government needs or needed. Why the PNC behave in a certain way, in and out of power? Why do they kowtow to the business class in this country? The business class which is predominantly Indo-Guyanese, because they have what the PNC needs. And all political party, quite frankly. Y'all could reason that out for me. What am I talking about? Farouk Hack. I got a problem with these hacks. Right? The ability to understand, to interpret, is so minuscule that they aggravate you with their utterances. Why don't you encourage the people to seek education? Learn a skilled trade. Poisonous stock. That's what this idiot is saying to me. Nevertheless, let's move on. So they were able to control the economy and still are able to control the economy. Right? They get political leaders to dance to their tunes because those political leaders need what they have. Political parties don't finance themselves. I'm telling you that. Political parties don't finance themselves. They look to the business community to finance them. And so, take for example, the majority of Georgetown is controlled by Indo-Guyanese businessmen. The big businessmen and women in the city are Indo-Guyanese, predominantly. And so when they say, I ain't said they said it, but when they say, or if they say, or if they only hinted to the PNC leadership, to the AFC leadership, well, I know about WPA. WPA is a whole rogue by itself. If they only hinted, if you support protest in this city, if you disrupt business in this city, we will withdraw our funding from you. We will not support you. You can't come to us and get contributions, financial and otherwise. They force the leadership of those political parties to rethink the strategy of protest. You're asking why they ain't getting major protests in the city? I'm explaining it. I ain't knocking nobody. All I'm saying is that political parties are looking out for their own financial interests because they need these business people to survive too. You notice the PPP, while they were in opposition, could have protested and go on bad. They didn't shut down the city. But they did other forms of protest. Right? They used the very businessmen to help them protest. The very businessmen withheld currency. The very businessmen cut back on trade. The very businessmen went to the event at Pegasus and turned up with placards against Granger. Right? And they were impactful and effective. The very businessmen right now are preventing protest because they are saying to opposition elements, you dare to protest and upset business in this city and see who's supporting you. I'll give you, you see, every time I come and I have certain discourses on this program, I give you the evidence. Right? I give you the evidence. Because as an educator, I believe I need to point you to the things when I talk. A couple of weeks ago, I I'm not saying it is so. I don't know if it is so or not. I doubt whether it is so. And I will give my disclaimer like I usually do. I'm not a member of the PNC, much less the PNC leadership. So I can't really answer to what I'm about to say. But I can say that it has been placed in the public domain, I think through the Guyana Chronicle. There was an article a few weeks ago that says PNC is bankrupt. PNC doesn't have money. PNC couldn't pay their workers. Because at least one major businessman, check the Guyana Chronicle, I'm sure it is in the Guyana Chronicle, at least one major businessman withdrew his support because he doesn't like the approach of Norton and the PNC to dealing with the government. Check it. And I'm paraphrasing, so if I don't get everything correct, forgive me. I ain't ever going to look for the article. But you can do your research as students. Go do your research and you will see that article, which alleges that the PNC doesn't have money, it doesn't have financial resources, because at least one major businessman who disagrees with the approach of the party to dealing with his government has withdrawn his or her support. Right? Now that financial support of that particular business person or entity, if we were to assume the article is correct, the withdrawal of that support could cripple certain efforts of the major political party to hold his government accountable, assuming that this person withdrew their support, doesn't want them to hold the government accountable. Are you following me? So when you don't see big protests in Georgetown, it doesn't mean that the political party doesn't recognize the value of protest. They have to weigh between the value of protest and the value of financial contributions for other programs and projects of the party. And so they have to weigh the benefits as against the disadvantages of protest. Because if we protest, we will drive these Indo-Guyanese supporters, financial and otherwise, away from the party, and we will be wounded because they control the resources. So here we're gonna we ain't gonna take to the streets because we gotta get their support. We're going to find other ways and means of trying to hold the government accountable. And so again, just like the PPP got these workers in the communities running around a wheel like a hamster, a lot of our political leaders and parties, activists and so on, are running around like hamsters because the people really control where they go, what they do, how they do it, are the people with the purse. I know some people's toes might be getting mashed, some people might be angry with me, but I owe it to myself and to the citizens to help them to understand the politics of this country. Right? We gotta get it. I have to help you to understand the politics of this country. And so when you're educated, you can fashion your approaches. You can fashion your approaches. So if you want protest in the city, if you believe that protest is going to turn things around in the city, then you have to look to those who are willing and able to protest. You can't hold your head and say, I'm a PNC boy, I'm a PNC girl. I'm an AFC boy, I'm an AFC girl. My party says not to protest, I'm not going to protest. There's not political allegiance. There's cultism. You were in an organization like, what I call it, the People's Temple, Jim Jones, that you can decide for yourself that, hey, protests can really shake up the status quo in this country. And so regardless of who is going to protest to bring that change, I will stand with them. But when it comes to elections day, I know where I will be voting. When my party needs my support, I will be giving it to them. But I recognize the value of protest action, and so I will go there and I will support protest action which I identify with. I believe that the voters list needs to be cleaned. And the only way we are getting these people to pay attention to the fact that the voters list needs to be cleaned is by protest. I will go there and protest. How many of us are thinking like that? Professor David Hinds said last night on this program while I was there, the WPA gives its members, its leadership, the latitude to act in the best interests of their communities. Maybe other political parties don't, I don't know. So when I decided I was going to start a program named BUXTONIAN Morning Time, I didn't have to get any, or Kams TV, I didn't have to get any okay from political leadership at WP. And when I say I'm going in front of GCOM and protest with the people who have been calling for boots on the ground, I didn't have to consult with the WP. Because I recognize that is action that is necessary, I also recognize that is action that the WPA supports, because Takuma Ogonse was on the stage at Golden Grove. And he said the WPA believes that you have to confront this matter of the voters list before going to any election whatsoever, local government or national. And so I knew in my mind, well, hey, the actions I'm about to take and I will take are actions that my party supports anyhow. But I didn't have to consult with my party. Whether or not they like it, I am out there. And when people were calling on the program and still are calling on the, well, they don't call for boots on the ground no more, because I realized, like, we've been calling for boots on the ground, but we really are not ready to put boots on the ground, because this man has gone out there now for 5 or 6 days, and we have not been able to put our boots on the ground. So I'm not seeing a lot of people calling for boots on the ground now. But I'm saying, when viewers were calling every day, every second of the day, for boots on the ground, I didn't stop to ask them, which political party do you support? I recognize, or I believe I recognize, that there was a certain section of the Guyanese society that was ready and willing to confront the issues by protest. And I offered myself to lead that protest. And I'm out there for 5 or 6 days, and I'm not seeing the same set of people who are saying boots on the ground. But the few of us who are out there, when the list gets cleaned, because I have no doubt that list has to be cleaned. When the list gets cleaned, and when there are free and credible elections in this country, And people start to enjoy a better quality of life because they get to elect a government of their choice and they hold them accountable. All of these people who are taking freedom for granted will continue to take freedom for granted. I said we get a better country now. How does a better country come around? How? We have to stop taking things for granted. We have to recognize the sacrifices that were made and the sacrifices that are being made and the sacrifices that will have to be made to maintain this freedom that we got. No, Henry Rodney, I'm not saying one business is controlling the PNCR. I didn't say that. I said that Indo-Guyanese, referencing the Trenchy early yesterday or the morning before, we said black people didn't, African Guyanese didn't do anything to enhance the lives of themselves and their children. While partially incorrect, was partially right, because I was showing the importance of the different sectors, the different types of enhancement, if we are going to maintain the freedom that our ancestors left us. And in making that argument, I was showing about who controls financial and other resources and how they control the actions of politicians and political parties. And I refer the article which I believe is in Guyana Chronicle, saying that the PNC is strapped because this one businessman has withdrawn his support. I'm sure there's not one businessman who will support the PNC party like the PNC. But maybe that is a major financer compared to the others. And I also made the disclaimer that I'm not PNC, so I don't know what's happening over there. And I don't know if this article is accurate or not. It could be politicking. But I use it as an example for teaching. Right, Henry Rodney? I hope you're clear on that now. I don't want y'all go and say I throw stones at the PNC. Right? Farouk Haq is saying very few people support me on my views. And that is why I hardly have anyone supporting the protests. 4 or 5 people with backyards. That's your view. And you're entitled to it. Because I also have a view that says a lot of people are not on the protest line because they are fearful. The very freedom which I'm saying we need to protect is taken away from us, not with shackles, not with physical restraints, but mental restraints. That's my part of my argument this morning. Because we allow fear to cripple us. My daughter works with the U.S. Embassy. I am afraid to go and protest because she may lose her job. My son works with the Canadian Embassy. I'm afraid to go and protest because he may lose his job. My husband works with the British Embassy, British High Commission. I'm afraid to protest because he may lose his job. My son is a scholarship student, or my grandson is a scholarship student. I'm afraid to protest because they may withdraw the scholarship from him. I see lawlessness taking place in the office that I work. I'm afraid to protest. I'm afraid to even share the information with people who might make it public because I'm afraid of losing my job. Fear has crippled the whole large section of the Guyanese society, especially people looking like me. And so it is not that they disagree with my views. It is that they don't have the mental fortitude, if I can call it that. They don't have the boldness, the temerity, the gumption to go there and stand up and say, whatever What I say? Kesera, Kesera. Whatever will be, will be. They don't have that gumption. I don't blame them. To each his own. I don't see hundreds of people behind me out there. But who knows, Mr. Hack? Hundreds of people might be sending me messages of support. Hundreds of people might be contributing to what I do out there. Because I certainly can't do it alone. So again, I'm saying that some people lack the ability to reason, to interrogate things, and so I have to help out sometimes. Right? This is gumption. This is temerity. This is recognizing how you fight to protect your freedom. Yesterday, Sharon and I were called to go to Pretty Paul Singh Investments. Because the workers there had a standoff with management. Right? The workers there have a standoff with management. What was the standoff? They were being mistreated. Some of them worked with Pretty Paul Singh for 23 years. Some worked for 18, some worked for 19. Many of them say that they built that company from ground up. They did all the grunt work to get Pretty Paul Singh to where it is now. And now that the owner has arrived, as we like to say in Guyana, he treats them like the scum of the earth. Let me point out to you, the majority of them black. The majority of them are African Guyanese. Single parent mothers. Fathers trying to provide for their families and so on. They are being mistreated. They are being spoken to anyhow, like children, like indentured slaves, and so on. Anyhow they're treated. And they decided among themselves that one of the ways to protect their rights as workers is to get unionized. And they started a process of identifying a union and applying for membership. Pretty Paul Singh came to understand that these people were making moves to defend their rights as workers through unions. He called them to a meeting, he abused them verbally, allegedly, and he told them, if you want a union, go behind the gate. In other words, if you want a union, you can't work here. Many of them said, well, give us our severance pay and we will go behind the gate, beyond the gate. He sent them all to personnel, HR. You go to HR. He gave HR whatever instructions. When they turned up for work yesterday, or was it the day before? When they turned up for work yesterday, 5 of them were locked out. 5. You know why 5? They were seen as the strong-headed ones. They were seen as leaders. They were seen as the ones who were going to rock the boat and bring the others with them to rock the boat. And so they locked out 5. And they wanted to make examples of that 5. If you stand up like that 5, we are going to put you out of bread. It's like these business people saying with the saying to the PNC. Again, I'm just referring to that article. I'm using it to teach. You represent the strength of this struggle. And we are going to banish you financially and otherwise. We're not going to give you our support. We're putting you off the plantation so that we can control and manipulate the masses to our benefit. Pretty Paul Singh is a small picture of what is happening in bigger Guyana. But you know what is the difference? all of the workers at Pretty Parsing say, well, if they get locked out, we going out. If they can't work, we ain't working. Give all of us our severance and put us behind the gate. That's what Pretty Parsing workers did. That is unity. That is struggle. That is how you defend your freedom and your rights. They put fear in front to say, hey, look how they knock off them 5. Buy me one falling down. Hey, look how they kill Kwame Wing. Buy me one falling down. Hey, look how they murder Ronald Waddle. Buy me one falling down. I got my family to live for. No. Those workers banded themselves together and they say, if one going, all going. Up to when we left there, that situation remained because the workers were saying, give us our severance now. We want it now. We ain't coming back Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday as you're proposing. We want our severance now. Hear the proposal. Y'all gonna get your severance next week, Tuesday. Y'all come to work in the meantime, we gonna pay. No, we want it now. If we get it knocked off, we want to get knocked off next week, Tuesday. Knock me off now. Give me the money now. And so the produce that you got there to be packaged and processed and all of that, let it suffer. Pretty Parsing, I am sure, by this morning, must be revisiting that decision. And so, our politicians, our members of parliament, our citizens have to take another look at how they deal with the politics of this country. They have to take another look at how they deal with this apartheid government. Because so long as we remain divided, I am PNC and he is some WP. I can't support the protest that he is leading that should benefit all of us. I am AFC and they are PNC and I can't support what they are doing despite the fact it will benefit all of us. We get conquered. We get enslaved. We get restrained without the physical restraints. When Sri Lankans struggle because they see themselves as Sri Lankans. When you have a struggle in Trinidad, despite the fact that they have the same almost ethnic situation in Trinidad, sometimes they put aside their political differences and they struggle because they see themselves as Trinidadians. When Guyanese have to struggle, we see ourselves as PNC, WPA, AFC, JFAP, Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Rastafarian, Seventh-day Adventist, Anglican, Pentecostal. Among the divisions that we have, we use all of them to weaken our struggle. And so we will continue to allow the few that got unity up there, the political bandits and prostitutes, as somebody called them the other day from Freedom House, they got unity, you know. They're all united in their minds of one thing. We're going to thief the resources of this country and we're going to punish the poor people. While the poor people have all of these divisions, they are united in that one thing. We're going to rob them. And let me tell you about robbing them. I said yesterday, every time the PPP is in office, social ills increase, suicide increases, murders increase, petty crime increase, serious crimes increase, assassinations, what you call them, hits increase, drug trading increase, trafficking in person increase. All of these social ills increase under the PPP whenever they're in office. You know what else increases? corruption, thievery, embezzlement, fraud. White-collar crime and blue-collar crimes increase under the PPP. Right now, there is a fraud in excess of $3 million at the Enmore, what do they call it, Enmore Hope NDC, or Enmore whatever, Haslington NDC. Do you know that? $3 million plus, in excess of $3 million, cannot be accounted for by the accounting office of the Enmore, Haslington, whatever they call it, NDC. You think anybody get locked up yet? No. Why? Let me make you pay back our money. You look like a biddies. I wanna be. Let me call Anil and Anil go try and settle a matter. They're united in one thing. We're going to thief from the people. And if we get catch, we're going to protect one another. Y'all remember the one from the Deans and Commercial Registry that thief the government money by giving herself increase in salaries? When she went before the court, what the judge that looks like her say? Restitution. She still works there. She has to repay the salaries, but she's still employed here. The black man said, jailer. You think he's smarter than all of we? He insulted our education. Who dares him to insult our education and thinks that he can rob us? Jail him! Let's say you want to we protect them. Oh, you get family, you get picnic, your wife. Reality. And that $3 million, in excess of $3 million, that is unaccounted for, that has been fraudulently used, that has been embezzled, is only money collected through rates and taxes and so on. You know what else is happening over there? For more than a year, the NIS contributions have not been paid for the workers, and no money can be accounted for. So you have a whole lot of workers there and families that are going to be affected because should one of them become sick and they turn up to the NIS and benefits ain't got none because no contributions were being paid. Y'all recognize that? Y'all understand that? But I'm not sure that this has even made the media. Because the mainstream media is controlled by who? I'm talking about control of resources, right? The mainstream media is controlled by who? Yeah, we're not going to put the picture up on front page. I'm not going to put the picture up on the news. I'm not going to mention the name and the fact that there's a fraud at NDC in and more. No, we will not do that. We in power. We will not do that. Hey, let me cover down this thing, by. Do you know during the COVID grant, the distribution of the COVID grant, a leading East Coast organizer of the PPP, who was heading that distribution team, along with his assistant, they were found to have misappropriated, stolen millions of dollars. One of them by 2 SUV, one of them throwing up a mansion. Do you know that? What was recommended when they were caught? Restitution. Y'all didn't read any news, y'all didn't hear about it. Y'all talk to me, have you heard about that? They are agreed on one thing. They got unity in corruption. You do your thing, but once you don't get caught, we are right. If you get caught, we don't gonna punish you. You gonna get a slap on the wrist. You pay back the thing, man. You put back the loot. Likewise, there's an NDC on his bank that got a major fraud too. Y'all know that? There's an NDC on the East Bank that has a major fraud. Embezzlement and corruption. But have you read of it in the newspaper? I take your bet no. You're not going to hear about it because why? The news people, the people who control the media industry in this country, look like the people who committed the crimes. $13 million on the East Bank. I will get you the details not on today's program. It's 22 minutes past 8. 13 million is what has been misappropriated in the East Bank. You all hear anything about it? The media ain't gonna tell you these things. Number one, they might not know. Number two, when the owners of the media houses recognize that the people look like them, they say, no. This is an embarrassment for people. We can't publish this. The people at Peters Hall and Providence yesterday said they called MTV 65 or 69, whatever it is, 65. While they were protesting what was happening in their community with the broken sluice and the continual flooding that they are being affected by, the destruction of their furniture by floodwaters and so on, and no assistance from this thieving cabal. They called 65 to highlight it. 65 turned up and gave them a hatchet job. 65 didn't represent what they represented. They said they called Gordon Mosley, the big time host and media personnel and so on. They called Gordon Mosley and he paid them no mind. Gordon Mosley operates a media entity that is allegedly owned by one of the PPP oligarchs. I put in 2 and 2 together for y'all. I think he got the freedom in as much as he is an independent journalist to go out there and publish anything against his government. I hear a lot of y'all accusing Gordon Mosley of switching from the coalition and switching into this and switching out of that. There are a few independent media workers and journalists and so on in this country. And most of them are called social media influencers. Because they ain't got no boss to tell them what to publish and not publish. Get that Kams Tv and put your hand up. Even Travis Chase in all of his fearlessness, let me call it that, has restraints. Because when the owners, the proprietors of AGP 67 say, hey, you can't publish and you want us to get a lawsuit, you got to pull back. Tell them I say that. I understand the industry. Tomorrow is Free Talk Friday. I'm going to leave some of this nastiness to talk about tomorrow. Baghdad's getting well-paved roads, better than the city. And the Fisher Bishop say, when the people in the city vote for the PPP, they're going to get good roads. The lines are open. 622-5933 is the number to call. 622-5933 is the number to call. The lines are open. And in case you have a doubt, you have a question, yes, I will be in front of GCOM today at 3 o'clock. And the police will have to roll out the red carpet of iron. Put up your barricades, are coming. I know how many coming with me, but I coming. Call in live, good morning.
Morning, Kadaki, and morning, Guyana. What you said and the information you provided, you were spot on. In reference to the protest and why PNC is not out there, it's because of their financial masters. And why do we allow in Guyana party to actually inform us of what we can do and what we cannot do? And as long as we are doing that, we are simply monolithical in the way we think. When it comes to the PPP and the colleague corruption, they will protect the old. We've seen that over and over, but it seems like nobody else cannot see it. Here is it, you've got Ario shot an Amerindian woman in the stomach, and he's back to work. His gun have not been seized. We've got continuous cases of Indians and even supporters on the other side who are Africans do bad, kill people, and they're still not in jail. They haven't been charged. So we know what deal it is. It's about economics. So we've heard when Granger was in there, what did he do for black people? And even when he was doing these things, the newspaper are not going to put good things that he was doing in their paper. So we've got to also change our mindset, not completely, but to be economically independent. Because as long as we have to depend on majority of Kuli people to even fund our party, we are screwed as a people. And basically we've got to understand that. If in a system in Guyana where it's about economics, and we know the Africans probably just have maybe 2 or 3% of the business, and how campaigns are funded, and it's funded by those folks, we're not going to see any progress in any near future until we develop a plan to either keep our money in our area and build one area at a time. Do we have any study to figure out which area is the most economic for us as a people? We can develop that and turn that into a powerhouse. But until we're not able to do that, we are friggin' screwed as an African people in Guyana. And that's what's happening. So we've got to see it. And if we don't see it, we're going to keep getting licks and be enslaved. That's my take.
Thank you, caller. Imagine the Department of Labor that is supposed to be protecting workers' rights. The workers from Pretty Parsing said they've been calling them. As soon as they pick up the phone and they hear Pretty Parsing, they hang it down. They're hanging back up. Hello, good day. This is the Ministry of Labor. Good day, I'm calling to lodge a complaint against Pretty Parsing. Clicks. Where else that happens, man? Every time they call the Department of Labor, once the name Pretty Parsing comes up, the phone gets hung up. As a matter of fact, if I remember hearing correctly, one caller was abused. Caller live, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning, everyone in the diaspora. I'd like to say I like to congratulate and support what I saw yesterday in the protest in front of GCOM. And it's encouraging to hear that you are going out there again today to bring notoriety. We will continue to support this effort. with regards to GCOM. Now, the caller just called, talked about a plan. So I want to pick up on the last caller, the first caller that called this morning. GCOM. Now, I want to take it from the position of GCOM. So I want to highlight Christopher Jones, who is the whip, the party's whip. I want to highlight Cameron Ramjatan. I want to put some responsibility, some accountability on Cameron Ramjatan and Christopher Jones and Moses Nagamoto. Where is Moses Nagamoto? He's a lawyer. Christopher Jones is the whip. Sharon Holder is the chairman of the PNC party. Jordan from region number 5 is the vice chairman. These are the power brokers within the PNC. Of course, there is Comrade Norton, but Comrade Norton by himself is not the entire team. My point that I'm getting at is this. A red line was drawn in the sand, which we are not going to any elections, local government or regional national elections, unless the list is changed. So Roysdale Ford said, as lead counsel, that Claudette Singh is accused for dereliction of duty. So I want to ask Christopher Jones as the whip, because nothing can't really happen without the whip, because it's a parliamentarian team, and it should be a parliamentarian effort. And I hope that it's a parliamentarian effort to get the PPP out of there, and particularly focusing on GCOM, Claudette Singh. So in the context of dereliction of duty, I'm speaking to Nagamoto, I'm speaking to Cameron Ramjatan as the head of the AFC. I'm speaking to Kathy Hughes, Sherrod Duncan. What does it mean when we say dereliction of duty? And what do we intend to do now that the lead counsel for the coalition has phrased a charge against Claudette Singh, the chairman of GCOM? What will be the next move in regards to dereliction of duty? Are we just going to say dereliction of duty to sound good, or do we intend to put work to bring charges against Claudette Singh for dereliction of duty? I might say that Vincent Alexander has a volume of evidence for dereliction of duty. Leslie J. Lowenfield, as CEO, publicly gave evidence for dereliction of duty. We, the people, have been complaining about dereliction of duty by way of disenfranchisement. Claudette Singh facilitated disenfranchisement, and that also fits into dereliction of duty. Because when she forced Lowenfield to go against Article 96, she was not only derelict in her duty there, extensionally, she disenfranchised all of us from the rope of protections. Thereby, she facilitated national dereliction of duty with regard to disenfranchisement of the people. So I am just surmising it for Mr. Roysdale Ford to let him know that we who have a vested interest, we know. That's why I'm saying this. I'm saying to Mr. Roysdale Ford that you know, but we who have the first interest, we also know, and we are holding the process accountable. We have that constitutional expectancy that our representatives will make a claim and follow through with it. So we're also supporting the cause. We're supporting the cause. But we want to help the cause to be facilitated to its natural progression and fruition. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you
on
for
the
calling.
protest line.
Caller live, good morning.
Sorry, well. Thank you.
Good morning, caller, you're live.
Good morning. Yesterday, as I listened to the live, P.T. Paul saying workers, the one thing I got away or took away from it, that Guyanese probably overlooked. Imagine that they're doing the job that only pay bare minimum wages. They're being shut out by, according to them, Spanish people. So if you're having workers that's barely making a living, and even that's being taken away from them by people that's coming possibly illegally into the country, what's going to really happen? Over and over, we keep speaking about being disenfranchised by this government, and it's like they're not getting it. They're not getting it. They're not receiving the message. Even minimum wage workers are being disenfranchised. What's going to be left? They close you out of the higher bracket. They close you out of the middle class bracket, and now you have immigrants closing you out of the lower bracket of work. The same is being said for nurses. This is why it's so difficult for nurses to live in Guyana. Why? Because eventually they will be importing nurses, and the things that they could not do for their own Guyanese, they will throw it at them. They will give it to them for free. They will give them housing. They will give them pay raises on a scale that has never been seen before, and everything else. So for all you who so love the government or are so afraid of them, there will be nothing left for you. If you do not stand up, take a stand. For everybody that's on the breadline, underemployed, what is it that you have to lose? At this point, I feel nothing. Anyway, that's my take on the whole situation yesterday. It was sad to actually stand there and listen to someone saying that they have sacrificed 30, 20, 15, 10 years and given the all, and all the while, if y'all did not notice or not, they have been abused by this company. They helped build a company that abused them as workers. Environmentally, salary-wise, and everything-wise. And it's stuck to them. And guess what? When it was convenient for Petty Paul or Pretty Paul or whatever thing, they're going to discard them like garbage, and then they'll bring the immigrants in to fill their stuff. So people, I need you to take that frustration and anger straight. This is where you're supposed to be in front of the Ministry of Works, I don't know what they call it there.
Labor.
The Ministry of Labor protesting your rights. In fact, you guys need to hire a lawyer. I don't know how it works there, but you can sue these people for all the wages, all the sick time. You were unable to care for yourself because you were caring for their business. All the times that you were caring for their family, for them, and neglecting your family because you thought that you were a community and you were growing the business. Yes, you were. You were growing Mr. Singh's business. And you were nothing but a number to him. So now be a number. Be the number that takes some of his wealth away. Hire a lawyer or lawyers to represent you in a class action suit. And you know the one thing? I'm so proud of you that you stood together and you did not let your 5 co-workers stand alone. That's the missing link in Guyana. And maybe people are finally getting it. As one, we're weak. As many, we're strong. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, caller. Voice note.
Good morning, Kadaki listeners. It has been rumored a long time, years now, that Jack Dio is a major shareholder in Pittipal Singh Company. Good morning, Kadaki listeners. It has been rumored a long time, years now, that Jack Dio is a major shareholder in Pittipal Singh Company. And that's where everything might be coming from.
Call over the line.
Mr. Kadaki, good morning. You know, this old struggle is not about fear. Many of our Guyanese brothers and sisters, many of them are struggling. And let me tell you, you know why they're not coming out there to protest? Because many of them are in the pockets of the PPP and they're earmarked. So when they to show their faces out there, they cannot because they went into making deals with these people. You understand? So that is our main problem, because when the rest of the people is going to stand up for justice, some cannot. Most of them cannot because they are dealing with the oppressors. And the oppressors will continue to do what they're doing because they have the money, they have the resources, the very resources that belongs to the same Guyanese people that are going and take it from them as if it is their mother and father thing they're giving to them. That is what they're doing. And they will continue to do that because all we see is money. We do not see our future. We see today. We do not think about tomorrow. You understand? Which in tomorrow is promised to no one, but by the grace of God, you can say, you can face tomorrow. But let me tell you something. They will continue to be oppressed, and they will always have to sing the same tune that the oppressors are singing, because that is the way people are thinking now. Don't worry with them that they can't come out and different excuses. You let the very oppressors have something where they're going to dance and drink rum and they're going to have party, and so they're there in their thousands. So why you can't come and stand up for your own future, even if not yours, your children or your grandchildren? That is where we are at right now. You understand? And we will not come out of it until people wake up. It's going to get to them. It's going to reach into their homes very soon. Let me see what will happen. Let us look and see. You don't fight yourself. You don't fight yourself. It's going to come to them. Thank you.
Molly Live, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki and viewers. Thank you so much for having this very important discussion today and always. I don't want you, and I don't want our African brothers and sisters to be offended today for what I have to say. Now, my question to you and some of the viewers and callers, what would be your remedy? What would be the remedy to deal with the situation of where our I would say the second branch of government, the law, which governs the sense that lawbreakers should be dealt with? What would be the remedy? For instance, one example, what would be the remedy for a situation where you decide to approach the court to deal with a situation where the police officer made an allegation for the court to address, and the person that is in charge or should be overlooking following the laws in terms of steps in dealing with an investigation, when that individual decides he or she will not follow the process of dealing with a situation, what do you do in a situation? How do you remedy that? That's one. How do you remedy a situation where an elected official or an installed official is being accused of being corrupt, accepting bribes. How do you remedy that? You may not be able to do it now that you're not in government. How do we remedy situations like that? Because whether you do it now or later, if you don't address it, we're not making sense. How do you remedy corrupt officials? How do you remedy corrupt police officers? How would you deal with a situation like that in a developed country? We are developed. I don't care what anybody say. We're developing. You're developed. You're modernized. How do you deal with situations like that, where there are laws in our constitution that deals with corruption, whether it is theft, murder, and so forth? How do you deal with that? That's one. Now, my next topic would be, I want the Guyanese of African descent and East Indian descent to understand this very carefully. I am in wherever I am in. I'm not in Guyana, but I'm telling you, we as foreigners, you're immigrants, right? People of the homeland hate your guts. You know why? Because you're coming here, you're coming in their land, and you're accepting the so-called minimum wage or underpayment of workers. This is a situation with immigrants wherever they go. But the perseverance of making it, striving, better than where you would be or where you came from. You work hard. You accept, you laugh, and you go to this minimum wage job. And eventually you're at a standard where you're comfortable than the nationals or born nationals. This is a situation that we all immigrants face wherever we go. Don't let nobody tell you different. The reason why I'm saying that, Guyanese, born Guyanese, black or African, and East Indians, those same immigrants will eventually be over you. That's how it will be. And you're going to hate the guts. But if you guys don't get up and you will be in similar situations that we are here. You're going to hate the foreigners. Whether you like it or not, you're going to hate them. But if you sit back and you allow good opportunity, immigrants are here, they're doing 2, 3, 4 jobs to survive. And those immigrants in Guyana, they're going to come and they're going to do the same thing. And you people, because you sit down there and you accept everything, the status quo, you eventually will be in the same situations that most people in these foreign lands don't like immigrants for. You're going to hate them. But if you don't stand up for what you see what's going on there, they will. Let me tell you, they will. In 10 years, I think I heard you mention, in 10 years, trust me. Forgive me for what I will say. Most of Latin America are Catholics. They believe in the natural way of life. Please forgive me what I'm going to say here. They do not believe in abortions. They do not. They will eventually, in 10 years' time, they will be the majority in Guyana. Give them 10 years. If we sit down and we accept the status quo, it's going to backfire. You probably heard of the situation where the Republicans in the United States of America, where the Supreme Court struck down or took away the women's rights bill. Do you think it really is for the care of the unborn child? Do you think so? Whoever thinks so, you've wrongly mistaken. They don't care about the unborn. Their main emphasis is that the white race is not making enough children. The young white people, they're more, especially the women, are more progressives. They're not marrying early. They're not sticking with anybody, not till in the late 40s. What the situation we have, all the immigrants, the average immigrant, I'm talking about those from Central America, their life starts 14, 15. By the time they're 30, they have 5 kids. What will happen? That's what the Republicans are afraid of. They know that. So if Guyanese of African and Indian descent, you should sit down and accept the status quo, watch it 10 years, just 10. And you will see the different makeup of Guyana. And then I think on both ends, you're gonna have a unity, but then it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late because you can't reverse that. There's no way you're reversing it. Kadaki, thank you so much, and please keep up the good work.
Thank you for your call.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
The call asks, how do you stop this runaway train? My words, how do you stop a judicial official from railroading the judicial process? How do you stop the police from aiding and abetting criminal enterprises? That's in short what the call is asking. Caller, hold the line. How do you stop it? One of the greatest tools citizens have at their disposal is protest. And protest takes many forms. Let me explain this to you. Citizens with the wherewithal can approach a court as a form of protest. To challenge a decision of the DPP, for example, or to challenge a decision of the police in certain matters. Citizens can approach a court for that. Citizens can challenge the legitimacy of government decisions through the courts. But given the fact that many of us, or many Guyanese citizens, don't have the wherewithal because a lot of lawyers are struggling to live too. They can't afford to do every case pro bono. One of the greatest tools that we have that is free is mass protest. There's a difference, mass protest. If every citizen who was against the decision of the DPP to withdraw the private criminal charges against the crime chief should turn up in front of our office day in, day out, and demand that she reverses that decision, it can be reversed, and it will be reversed. Because no government will want a DPP's office that can't function because there's protests there all day, locking out people and so on, and work is not being done. They will have to address it. Right? So it can be addressed. Likewise, if there's protests every day in front of the office of the crime chief or the police, home affairs, wherever, mass protest, these things can change, they can come to an end. This caller is in the diaspora. This caller knows that when George Floyd was murdered by the policemen, one of them was kneeling on his neck, you know. The authorities offered to charge that one. They proceeded to charge that one. Protests, mass protests, caused them to revisit that decision and charge every single one of them that was involved. You had a patrol of policemen who murdered Quindon Bacchus. One of them was charged for murder. What did we have in this country? The residents of Golden Grove and the immediate surroundings of where Quindon Bacchus originated protested. How long did they protest for? And that is what this government takes comfort in. So them black people, man, them hungry belly, they go protest at 2 morning and then they go done. All we have to do is create a more report on them, and then the black leaders will condemn them and distance themselves from violence and disruption and chaos, and they will have fits of guilt, and they themselves will withdraw, and the protest will come to an end, and we're going to wait for a couple morning and mash one of them again. They're going to protest at 2 morning, and they're going to stay quiet eventually, or in Boston, Quindon Bacchus, and the list goes on. But turn your eyes to the US that many of you consider the great democracy. The people come out and they protest, and every single officer was charged. In Guyana, you had a mixture of ethnicities, but only one black officer got charged. Caller, you're live. Good morning. I hope I've answered the question. Caller, you're live.
Hi, good morning, Kudaki. Good morning to the listening audience. Listen, I was wanting to know, could criminal charges be filed against the hack woman? Because everything that comes up in front of her, she discontinue those charges against these criminals, right? So I want to know if criminal charges could be filed against her, right? Secondly, Mr. Kadaki, I would like you to invite Mr. Elson Lowe on your program. Seeing that word is circulating around that the PNC is cash-strapped, right? Mr. Elton Lowe had offered to raise funds when he was campaigning for the treasury of the PNC. He was saying to us that he has the ability to raise funds for the party. Okay, did not get the treasury position, right? But I was wanting to know if y'all could come together. We need to have fundraisers so, you know, the party could get some money. There are lots of things that we could do to raise funds for this party. I could understand that there are lots of orders facing the party, and we have to get finances. So I'm asking you to get Mr. Elson Lowe on your program and see how best the party could raise funds, because we need funds so as to go to court with certain matters and so on, right? We need funds. We don't have to depend, we mustn't have to depend upon a big businessman to push in his lot so as to get money for the party. We have to raise our own funds. We are, PNC, Congress Place, there's a big yard space there. We could get events there and raise funds, right? So I'm asking you to get Mr. Elton Lowe on your program, and maybe one other relevant authority for the party who would come up with some form of idea so to raise funds that the PNC could get to do whatever they want in the courts, because it seems as though the court is taking all of our little cash that we have. So we need to raise funds. So please get these individuals on your program. That's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. I don't know. I don't agree. I don't think it's necessary that I get Elson Low on this program to discuss raising funds or to discuss the PNC raising funds. That's an internal matter. Elson Low, who campaigned for treasurer of the PNC, according to what his call is saying, because I really don't know. Despite not winning the position of treasurer, is still a member of the PNC. And if the PNC is cash-strapped, then Elson Low has local standi. He has the right to sit with his leader or to communicate with his leader and say, here, I recognize this is the situation. I had offered to do this. The offer still stands. Let us work together. That's an internal matter. I don't think that should be discussed on Kams Tv or any other public program. That's an internal matter they need to discuss and sort out inside. Okay, caller? When they decide on how they're going to raise funds, if they want some publicity, some advertisement, they could talk to me. I will surely oblige. Every time you see the leader of the opposition press conference on Kams TV page, it's because I oblige. When we have rallies, joint or otherwise, it's on the page because I oblige. Right? But I don't really need to bring Elson Low and any other member of the PNC to discuss on Kams TV, BUXTONIAN Morning Time, whatever, how they intend to raise funds, how they are addressing that issue. In the first place, like I said, I don't even know how credible that article is. I just used it as an example for teaching. But let's keep that in mind. There's a call on the line, I think. Is there someone there? Caller? Oh, there's no caller. I have some voice notes to play though. Let me play them.
Kadaki, good morning. Can you share a light on the position with the opposition leader Angita Chandan Edmond? Because it's a lot of things I've been hearing that he gets rid of her because of wrongdoings. Thank you.
Let me repeat for y'all. In case y'all ain't getting it. I am not a member of the PNC. I'm not an executive member or ordinary member of the PNC. Y'all gotta ask PNC people these questions. I don't know. The last I read, Gita Chandan Edmonds is on leave. That's the last thing I read. That's what I know. That's it in public. She's on leave. She was supposed to return to work sometime or is supposed to return to work sometime. I don't know. Right? People who are members of the party got more right finding out from their leadership whether or not Gita Singh is still the General Secretary of the PNC. Call it live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to everybody. First of all, last night I was looking at Mark's show, and there was an advertisement talking about the achievements of Queen's College. And all those people, they had 6 persons to do this ad. And out of the 6 persons, not one of them was an African on that thing. And we gotta know that many African children, boys, went to Queen's College. Lots of Africans, if I'm not mistaken, I think Hamilton Green may be an old student, and I think the late president of the country, Burnham, was a Queen's College boy. And this ad showed no African at Queen's College. These people have got to remember that before they were able to access these schools were church schools. And most people in the Christian churches were Africans after we came out of slavery and segregation. we attended those schools. And because they wanted a higher form of education for their children, they made these different high schools like Bishop QC. You had the boys schools and you had the girls school. And it goes on. Now with the protests at the two places that you went to yesterday, I hope at least one lady was at the GCOM protest. Now these people, they don't want to go out and protest because they don't want to be seen on camera as a protester. But when problems like what happening to them hits them, then they would try to call the team. And I like how they said that they call mainstream media, those media houses, and none of them went to their assistance. So I hope now that they will not be like many of the writers where the slogan gone, boots on the ground. You ain't seen them no more. Because every time when we had rally, they said we should keep the pace up and they would go up on more rally than they go up on boots. We now seeing those who are in for boots on the ground. Those who are in for boots on the ground goes out every 3 days, 3 days a week, and be in front of GCOM. I hope they can join the team and end up there on the boots on the ground. And the last caller was trying to explain what is going on. In Guyana, when these foreigners come, whether they come willingly like the Venezuelans, or they come imported like who they want to bring from Bangladesh and these places, that's the order of them. They end up into the jobs, they're being given higher wages, and they can do anything. But we who are Guyanese, we are always at the bottom of the pay thing, and we got to carry the weight of the workload. And I hope the people at Pretty Paul stay off the job until they get paid and thing, because if they go, they mean they must have got some shipment and some deadline to be met by Tuesday. That's why they have them in a stranglehold. Let them stay and let the Spanish do the work. Because remember, the woman from America, the wicked bitch, they said that Guyanese must give precedence and treat these women, these Spanish, with respect and all kind of thing, because they are women. Don't mind the same Spanish coming to Guyana and destroy a lot of homes with what they go on with. But we must give them the rights. And even after when they go and they bring the nurses from Bangladesh, those same nurses will not look after them. Because let me tell you something. When you see these people come from outside, especially them Kodi people, they just watch down at those that they come and meet in the West as slaves, because they don't treat them good. And I could remember 3 women went to a private hospital. They didn't name the name. And when they went there, they were in advanced labor. And when they got to the hospital, the hospital is being furnished with workers from outside. And the people look at them with scorn. And the same Georgetown Hospital, what they didn't want to go to, it's right there they had to run and deliver the children. Because the foreigners did not look at them. They scorned them. So let them import and do whatever they want to do. It's them that we're going to suffer. Bye-bye.
Thank you, caller. Vice note, we in overtime. Yes or no, we in overtime.
Kadaki, good morning. Can you share a light on the position with the opposition leader Angita Chandan Edmond? Because it's a lot of things I've been hearing that he gets rid of her because of wrongdoings. Thank you.
Voice note.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good program this morning, trying to educate these people like you do every day, and they're just not listening. Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good program this morning, trying to educate these people like you do every day, and they're just not listening, they're just not learning. I don't know when the people going to wake up, my brother. Believe me, I don't know when they're going to wake up. If they don't unite and push, especially to get a clean voters list. Now you're hearing about ID card has been given away or sell or whatever they're doing it from Freedom House. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, my brother. So if they don't wake up and put a stop into this nonsense, Guyana's going to be in bondage for a long, long time. You know. But keep doing the good work, sir. You know, I see you're trying your best, but I'm surprised that more people doesn't come out to Chicom, you know, to protest and to push back against the nonsense that is going on in Chicom. You know, but it's what it is, my brother. You know, have a lovely day, sir. Be safe out there when you step out.
Thank you for that voice note. Another voice note.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Kadaki. I'm speaking on behalf of what happened to the police station in front of Pretty Paul. It has been noted that Pretty Paul is one of Jaguar's friends, and I think that Pretty Paul business is being funded for the years by Jaguar. So, before 2015, the workers used to go through turmoil. The workers could not get the union, they could not get no bargaining, they could not get nothing from no official on their behalf, all because of what is going on with him and Jaguar. At this moment, okay, PPP is back. You know what happened? The PPP encouraged Jaguar to buy out very dry dock. We look after all these ships and so on. And you know what? They instructed all the Integrated Transport and Housing Department to send all of the boats to Pretty Paul dry dock, which he bought from there. That is up the East Bank. So the transport cannot send nothing nowhere else but at Pretty Paul's things investment. So you see what happening? These people just got the money in a circle around their friends and families and cronies, using government taxpayers' money to enrich themselves, to build themselves. And that's why the workers can't say anything. Nobody seems not to say anything because anything no with transport is pretty bad. This thing is daring. This thing is not good. It's not good for our country. And these are the things that keep happening day by day. They're just enriching themselves. These people are a pack of thieves. You understand? So this is my little take. They could not have get representative the workers yesterday from Ministry of Labor because the company is part owned or have connections to Jaguar. So no, you can't hear anything. Anyway, this is my taking. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Voice note.
Good morning, everyone. As we step into this new day, let us...
I must know when to send me certain things, man.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki.
Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, Kadaki. Guyana is a full-fledged apartheid state. When you look at that situation with Pretty Paul Singh, you get to understand the magnitude of how every conceivable economic institution in Guyana is wrapped around the current regime. And the main players, Jack Dio, Nanlal, Ali,
Look at all the major investments. These criminals are part of the majority shares in all these investments. So wherever you turn or whatever you try to do, those black people who are working there, they have no recourse because it's like you're throwing wind at the devil. I looked at that situation yesterday, Petit Paul Sin institution, and I yearn for those black people. Some of them are 20 years, 23 years, 19 years, 10 years. And they are not protected. They are the whims and fancy of the devils, the belly of the beast. They can't do a thing for themselves. Just working 9 to whatever hour each chooses that they have to do. I mean, what more could you expect? What more could you expect? Who could you turn to? And for that question I'm asking, it comes down to the same point I was making all the time. Some level of destruction has got to take place so these people can get a grip of reality. These people are living like kings and queens in Guyana at the expense of black people's hard labor. And the thing about it, the few black people who are entirely against the majority of the people in the, let's say for those in the police force like Hinds and company, Ejil and company, they are getting the minuscule part of what is handed out. But they are content with that because they know the majority of the black people in Guyana aren't getting anything. So they see themselves as doing well. But until they get rid of people like Jack Dio, Nanlal and Ali, they will continue to suffer like dogs in Guyana. I hate to use that comparison, but it is just the fact. These people are not going to change to help those people who are suffering, and we know who they are. Every businesses in Guyana have those elements inside. As I like to say, Guyana is a country of frontmen. Bacchus represents Anil. Petit Paul represents front for Jack Dio. Ali has Sarwan masquerading for him. And that is what's going on. The money is in the official circle. So when you find employment with these folks, you better not open your mouth. They kick you like an animal in the street. I don't know what's going to happen, but the only way I see change can take place in Guyana, it has to be vicious. The talking thing seems to be wasting time and falling on ducks' back, like water on ducks' back. Kadaki, you have a wonderful day and continue doing the pro work that you've been doing. It is such an asset to all Guyanese.
Have a good day, Carl. Thank you for your call. It's time for me to go. Yeah, I gotta live. I got a family to take care of. I'm afraid of sitting here to talk to y'all all morning. Some of y'all just want to do though. Enjoy your day. Have a good time. See you this afternoon, 3 o'clock in front of G. Come. But I know I will be there. Keep that in mind. I've reached a point where I'm not going to sit back and wait on people to do what I think I can impact. Right? It's as simple as that. I value the support though. Support is necessary. But will your lack of support stop me from doing what I do? Nah. Not at all. I keep reminding you, when I started Kams TV, I saw it as my contribution to this struggle. When I go out there and protest, it's my contribution to this struggle. You make your contribution. Come join me. If we pool our resources, our contributions together, we can get a stronger struggle. That's all I can say. Goodbye. See y'all. 3 o'clock for those who will come. Those of you who want to see the sideshow, I might give you a sneak peek. Goodbye. Again. Goodbye. Joy Politics 101 tonight. Doc Lines will be on. I think he said who his guests were last night, but I can't remember. Big. I got other things to study. Yes. See y'all.